If you want to build a new PC in 2025 and you play Fortnite, CS2, Valorant, Rocket League, League of Legends, or just any of these esports games, then you came to the right place. I will show you the best PC builds for esports games, all budgets included. Going through a cheap 240 plus FPS on average system, a high 360 plus FPS on average one, an ultra system that will be able to average over 540 plus FPS on average, and then a bonus pro extra performance PC. And also I will show you the level of gaming performance that you can expect with each system in high demanding games like Cyberpunk 2077 and games of that nature. I encourage you to stay until the end if you want to find the perfect PC for your budget and your needs. And you will find the links to these computers down below in the video description with the latest pricing and availability in your region. My name is Valentino. That being said, let's start. With the first system, we have the best budget esports PC that will allow you to play at 240 plus FPS on average in both 1080p and 1440p resolution. So if you want to play, again, games like Valorant or CS2, Fortnite, competitive settings, you will be achieving over 240 plus FPS. So feel free to go with a 240Hz, 1440p or 1080p monitor. This PC has a Ryzen 5 9600X, which is one of the best value gaming CPUs in the market, and that's why I put it here, because you want the best price to performance. And then for the graphics card, which is a very important component, I went with the RX 9060 XT 8GB model. Now for the most part, I would recommend you buying the 16GB model for this graphics card, but if you only play esports games, then you're not going to be running out of VRAM. Now if you are thinking of playing high demanding titles as well that will require over 8 gigs of VRAM at 1080p or even 1440p resolution, then I do recommend you spending more and going with the 9060 XT 16GB version. But again, if you play these esports games, you are not going to be running out of VRAM, or if you play other games that will not require more than 8 gigs of VRAM, for example Red Dead Redemption 2 or GTA 5. Now inside of this system you get Wi-Fi included, 32 gigs of RAM, so you get an amazing level of streaming performance as well in case you want to stream these type of games, and then you get an aftermarket CPU cooler with RGB included and amazing airflow from your case in the Montec X5M. This PC will go for around 830 bucks, and again, if you have a little bit of extra money to spend, I highly recommend you going with the 9060 XT 16GB version, because with that graphics card you will be able to max out 1080p in high demanding games, high to ultra settings with no issues, and you can also play at 1440p in high demanding titles because you have no VRAM limitation. Now with this next system, we have the best value high FPS PC that will allow you to play at 360 plus FPS on average competitive settings in esports shooters. This system has the Ryzen 5 9600X processor. Once again, this is one of the best price to performance CPUs in the entire market. And then for the graphics card, you get the Nvidia RTX 5070. This graphics card is a very high FPS GPU for 1440p gaming in any type of game. So if you want to play high demanding games, feel free to do so at 1440p high to ultra settings with no issues. And if you want to play at 1080p, you will be achieving even higher frame rates in these high demanding games. But again, at 1440p or 1080p in esports shooters, you will be achieving over 360 plus FPS. So feel free to go with a 360Hz monitor. One thing I forgot to mention is that down in the video description, you will find the best monitor for each system. And then for the rest of the components, you get the same exact components as the last PC. You get Wi-Fi included, 32 gigs of RAM for that sweet streaming performance, you get great airflow and great cooling for your CPU. So overall, an amazing system for 1130 bucks. And if you have some extra money to spend but you don't want to go too far, then I do recommend you switching to the Ryzen 7 7800X 3D processor, which will allow you to play at 500 plus FPS on average in esports shooters at 1080p or 1440p. So if you switch to this CPU, you will be able to fit a 540Hz 1080p monitor or a 480Hz one at 1440p. Now when you switch to this CPU, I do recommend you upgrading the CPU cooler to a bigger one in the Thermal Right Peerless Assassin, and then I do recommend you having 2TB of SSD for that extra storage in case you want to install more games or more programs. Now by making these upgrades, the price will be just under 1400 USD, which is still really good value for high FPS esports shooters, especially if you want to compete and you want those high refresh rate monitors. Don't worry, because you will have all the upgrades that I mentioned down in the video description just in case you got lost. And then if you want to be able to max out any monitor resolution, whether it's 1080p 540Hz, 1440p 480Hz or 4K 240Hz, then I do recommend you getting this next system, which will be the fastest esports gaming PC, because you get the fastest CPU in the market in the Ryzen 7 9800X 3D. With this CPU, you will be able to max out these high CPU demanding games or esports shooters because, as I said before, it's the fastest one in the market, and alongside this CPU, you get the RX 9070 XT from AMD, which is the fastest graphics card from AMD. And if you want to go Nvidia instead, because maybe Nvidia works better for you, then I recommend you getting the RTX 5070 Ti, which will be a bit more expensive, but it will be the better graphics card overall. With these graphics cards, either the Nvidia one or AMD one, you will be able to max out any game, even the most high demanding games out there, at 1440p, and even if you turn on ray tracing. And then they are also very nice graphics cards when it comes to 4K resolution high to ultra settings, 80 plus FPS on average when it comes to high demanding games, and over 240 plus FPS on average when it comes to esports shooters. For the rest of the components, you get a liquid cooler for the CPU, which is amazing in terms of cooling performance. Then you get a more premium quality case in the Montec XR wood, in my opinion one of the best looking cases in the entire market, with plenty of airflow. Then you get a premium quality motherboard with many extra features and Wi-Fi included, and then you get 2 TB of SSD, 32 GB of DDR5 memory once again for that sweet streaming performance or productivity and content creation work, and the price will be around $1,750 if you go AMD with the RX 9070 XT graphics card, and if you decide to go with the 5070 Ti from Nvidia, then the price is going to be a bit more expensive at $1,860 by the time of filming. Remember that maybe when you're watching this the prices are different, so I do recommend you checking the links down in the video description in case you want to check the latest deal, and on top of that get the best monitor for each system, and every alternative will be there as well. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.